Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so much to consider. Watching the Laker games last night, we've had so many different reactions to the missed calls and the things that just didn't go the Lakers' way. And I've been really, really mulling over it, man. I'm sitting in a state where I've had my wedding cake, weed, smoked enough to kind of get into a meditative state, so to speak. And I'm thinking about just LeBron James' body language yesterday after the call didn't go his way at the end of regulation when he laid the ball up. And I'm listening to what AD, his reaction was, holding the refs accountable. Listening to Darvin Ham's reaction, holding the refs accountable. I listen to myself, listen back to the various videos that I made, holding the refs accountable, but more so holding Darvin Ham accountable. And just listening to everyone's chatter thus far, mostly pointing at the refs. And I just think about the fact that there's so many different factors, so many different things that play into a loss. And a lot of them aren't easily identifiable. But if you're a guy like LeBron James, the only things you can really do is handle what you can control. Because a lot of that stuff is outside of your control. A lot of who's going to be on the floor with you, who's going to call what, when. A lot of that stuff is just outside of your control. And so when I try to attack what I guess needs to be attacked in regards to improving in whatever it is I'm doing, whether it be myself or if I'm talking about basketball, it would be basically controlling what you can control. The dog did not eat your homework. If not for you allowing the dog to be anywhere near that homework, that's your responsibility. We got to take care of the things. If we're talking about basketball, it's taking care of what's on the court. You can't really worry about the refs giving you your calls or not giving you your calls. You got to worry about your tendencies, making sure the right people are on the floor shooting the ball, making sure you're defending properly, making sure you're giving yourself the best opportunity to do all the different intangible things that are going to lead to you succeeding, whether the calls are called or not. Now, sometimes the calls can be so overwhelming that even if you do everything right, it will still go wrong. But if you don't do everything right, then how could we ever know? Now, I'm not saying chasing perfection is really what you're going to find. You're not going to do that. You're never going to find perfection. But what you can do is put yourself in a position to take care of as much of what you can to assure that you do enough against what's coming at you naturally. And so that's what comes to mind, just not only in basketball, in life in general, every aspect of life. Just take care of your side of the fence, and everything else that's outside of your control is just simply outside of your control. That's it. You got to live with the results. We all do. But if you're handling your side of the fence, there's no question of whose fault is whose, or if there was any chance you could have succeeded to overcome all of that. You left all of that on the line for yourself to do so. And that's what it's about when you're dealing with these type of situations where you're really not sure what you're looking at. Maybe it's corrupt, maybe it's not. It's hard to say, even though it looks a certain way. But there was too much to look at in regards to the LA Lakers that even if the game was called correctly, there was still room to see a loss happening anyway. You know what I mean? So that's really what I wanted to say. It's just take care of what we can control. A lot of times we want to look at games like this and just only focus on the refs. It's only them. They did this, and we would have won if simply they would have. But it didn't come down to that, because we still had a whole another 5 minutes after that. And what do we do in those 5 minutes? Anybody remember? And these are the things that we don't take a look at when we focus on the referees, and then we carry forth to the next game where the officiating is entirely different, make these same dang mistakes, and then lose another basketball game because we didn't focus on those mistakes. We were too busy focused on the referees. This is the same thing I said about the San Antonio game. We won the San Antonio game. It has the same effect. See how that parallels? A win has the same effect, because now you think because you won, you can still carry forth those same tendencies into the next game. And what does it cost you? The game. The same tendencies that you thought were okay because you actually walked out of there with your desired result. But this is not a one-game season. You got to play 82 games. So if you got bad tendencies, you're going to carry those into other games. It's exactly what I was saying about the Memphis Grizzlies going into playing them. I was like, look, these last 2 games they've been winning. They've been shooting poorly. They've been doing things the wrong way. They're ready to lose. And sure enough, we saw them carry forth those same tendencies, and they bricked a bunch of shots, and they lost games. And they ain't won since, to be honest. I think a lot of that had to do with Steven Adams' injury, but they ain't won since. And you could see them just being ready to lose after a long winning streak. You just see it. It's because they started slowing down on their tendencies, they stopped doing things that was working. They started getting tired, basically. So that's how that goes. Mentally fatigued when you're winning every night, going up against certain type of talent, you think you can carry forth everything the same way. Guys get hurt, shots stop falling, that kind of thing. You have to start doing different things in order to continue to win. Teams figure you out because you're on a 7-8 game winning streak. Now they're studying you different. We found it. Now the next team found what works. Now the next team found what works. That's what ends up happening. You got to stay moving. And for a team that has natural disadvantages, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. You think they ain't studying this bad thing that you keep doing over and over again? That's what Darvin Ham needs to understand. Your continuity equals the same old thing for every team to study. They know you're running small ball. They know what to do with it too. As you run the same thing every night and it never works. So guess what? They can all keep trying the same thing against you. And it ain't much to try. Just put all the players on the floor and rebound. That's it. They're not going to shoot very well from behind the arc, so they're going to be chasing out shots they can't hit. Just be ready to rebound those at the elbow and go the other way. It's easy. Every team has a blueprint of how to beat us because they've all tried it and it all works. And then down the stretch of the basketball game, just have a little more points than them. They're going to find ways to lose it. Watch them. Just play a little defense down the stretch of the basketball game. They're going to hoist up a shot that makes no sense. They're going to choke it away. They got players on the team that do things down the stretch of basketball games that only cater to losing. So just hang back. The more you push it toward them, the more they're going to come at you. But if you hang back against the Lakers and just force them into being in pressured moments where they have to do something right, they ain't going to do it right. They're going to be thinking about themselves instead of thinking about the team in those moments. Never fails. And Darvin Ham going to let them stay out there. Those players that had that tendency, he going to live and die with them. So you're going to get an easy victory against those Lakers. See what I'm saying? Stuff like this, I'm a fan. I'm a fan that don't even know the game. And I'm telling you, it's easy to beat this team, man. It's easy. Because they're not going to take care of what they can control. They're going to be low in the frequency in regards to whether or not they should focus on what they did wrong in a win so that it doesn't carry over to the next game and cost them the loss. No, they ain't going to do none of that. In a game like this, they're going to think all about what happened with the refs. When we know every night there's at least 8 or 9 calls that are missed, man. Every night. This ain't nothing different. Y'all got to focus on your tendencies. Focus on what doesn't work for you. Talk about what the refs are doing and aren't doing. Officiating's been bad all season. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to allow. I'm not disarming my team because there's still more damage to do from the stuff that we're doing to ourselves. Still more damage to do. It gets worse. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to if people start thinking a little bit, start putting their egos down and putting their thinking caps on. And pushing the players that cannot do that down the depth chart. And most importantly, off the team. Because that's where we're at with this Rob Pelinka. We're at the do or die mark where either our chemistry is going to serve us or it's going to fail us. Because we got to pull ourselves out of another hole, basically. We're still in a deep hole, just like the start of the season. It's not that much different. Because at the end of the day, we're racing against other people who are racing as well. So you may not be necessarily 7 or 8 games out of it, but it doesn't mean the team next to you isn't going to go on an 8-game winning streak at some point, or the team next to them might not make a trade to get better. We can't play around when we're the 13th seed. Losing games to the Boston Celtics. I want to blame the referees. They did miss the call. We could have won the game, but we asked Patrick Beverley to be our second leading scorer on the floor, and we didn't even get the ball to Anthony Davis in the second half. What am I supposed to say? The referees cost me the game? I know what led up to that. I know what led up to it. And that's why I'm not letting this team off the hook by any stretch of the imagination. The Lakers lost the game last night. The referees assisted with that by missing some key calls down the stretch of basketball games, which I think they do on a nightly basis all season long. It may not be as blatant or as obvious necessarily, but to be honest with you, I don't see much difference. They've been cheating us all year. We've lost at least 4 games like this. At least 4. And look, half the time I'm mad at Russell Westbrook for missing layups. You know he's fouled on most of those layups, right? That needs to be said. Most of the stuff that he does is bumbling and fumbling. A lot of that stuff, he going to the rim, oops, and it's contact on a lot of that stuff. No calls. It's contact. If they would have called all of Russell's calls, we'd be a different team. Nobody really mentions that. LeBron James, we know he's the most disrespected superstar in the league. Find me one. They deliberately embarrassed this man yesterday. 99th appearance on the Celtics, against the Celtics, and they did this. Down the stretch, down regulation. He got hit on his arm, clearly. All they had to do was look at it. Don't they always do that down the stretch of games? Let's take a look and see if that was good. No. That was no good. We're going to overturn that. Don't they go look at it in the last 2 minutes? What happened to that? Why was that not a factor yesterday? Why was that foul not called and then not taking a look at it again? Because my understanding is that even if you've run out of challenges, you should still be able to see the replay based on what they would do in the booth somewhere else in New Jersey or something like that. Am I wrong? What changed last night? I know what changed. It was an ABC game at 5:30 a Sunday afternoon when Jason Tatum's on the floor and they're trying to get the Celtics in the championship and him an MVP. That's what's happening. As far as I can tell, if the circus is truly in town with the NBA, you're probably going to see the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. It's going to be Luka the Don versus Jason Tatum. That's what they want. Unfortunately for Luka, his team ain't good enough. But if they can weasel a way to get him there, they're going to get him there. You can see it. That's what they're doing. That's where they're at. I don't know how long this window's going to be because I know Wembanyama's coming and he's going to have something to say about that. I'm telling you right now. And there's going to be some other stars too that they're going to want to give some things to as well, including Jokic in Denver and Zion in New Orleans. Maybe even John Memphis. But honestly, it's looking like the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks are what they really want for 2023. Because every time the Dallas Mavericks is on, everybody's working in unison to help Dallas look good. Everybody. When I say everybody, everybody. I've seen it twice now with my team. Everybody. It's all about making sure he looks better because his team sucks. Just like we said, his team's trash. So what they need to do in order to make him super great is everybody has to kick in and let it happen. And with the Boston Celtics, I'm starting to think something like that is happening as well. Yeah, something like that. The way we've been losing these games, I'm just like, nah, man. Professionals know this sport, and the stuff that they teach us, they abandon in certain matchups. Nah. You can't spend my whole life hearing these analysts tell me about how important size is. I've been listening to Charles Barkley tell me how important size is for 20 years. And then I watch basketball teams talk about they want to win a championship, run small ball. They're going to have to help me with that. Where do you think I get these ideas from? What do you think I've been listening to all my life? I don't play this sport. I listen to them. They tell me what works. I look, I see it works. Ain't deeper than that. So when I see Darvin Ham, professional, they pay him millions of dollars. He run a small ball out there, and it ain't working every night. And I'm just saying, well, how do people not change things when they know things don't work? That's one thing I never understood about sports. With all inept teams, y'all sit there and watch something not work and won't try something else? I don't never understand it. But I suppose that's what ineptitude is all about. That's why you're as bad as you are, because you do things that you shouldn't. You do things that people who would otherwise be successful just would not do. They would do other things and they would find other results. This is what it is all about. That's why bad is bad, I suppose. Same thing I said about excellence. We got to appreciate it when we see it, because right now we're seeing average. When you see excellence, salute, enjoy, appreciate, marvel, because it's not that. You know, and the one thing I know about excellence, the trait that it will understand is there are things outside of its control, so it will not mull over those things for too long. They will not. It's not going to allow its ego to get in the way of what's proper execution, because ultimately what your main goal is to be your best. So if your ego is going to get in the way of that, then obviously it's just one more thing that needs to not be done. No different than traveling and throwing the ball off the backboard. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it takes to win, supposedly. I guess that's what these people say they're about. You know what I mean? But then when it's time for their ego to get in the way, it's like, nah, let me have the world live and die on my shoulders. And if we happen to fail, shrug it off and dare somebody say something. Like, don't you see that is a trait that's like traveling? Don't you see that's... Nah, you're bricking. That's a brick in every way, shape, and form. And people just proceed to mentally brick all over the floor. And it's like, man, no, coach, we can't be mentally bricking out there. It ain't just about shooting the ball physically. You got to have your head on straight, because the other team, they're coming at you with a strategy. And if your strategy plays into their hands, you're going to lose. Your teammates, everybody's going to have bad chemistry. Fan base, unhappy. Owner having to answer tough questions, thinking about how the money's going to move around. You don't want these type of problems. It's very simple to just work on your tendencies. Some things ain't going to fall right. The ball ain't going to always fall. Free throws ain't going to always fall. But you can box out. You can keep players on the floor that are lengthy. It's very easy to sub out, Patrick Beverly for Max Christie. It's a very easy thing to do. Call his number, 10, come in. Long arms, wingy, fast enough legs to keep up. It's very simple. Very simple. All that other stuff that we be doing, making life harder for ourselves. Try to find Patrick Beverly, top of the key, shoot the three. Maybe he makes it, maybe he misses. I don't know, maybe he makes it. He's been making it lately, hooray. But why am I even sitting here waiting for him to make a miss? I don't need to wait for him to make a miss. No, I need AD to make a miss, Bron to make a miss, Rui to make a miss. Those are the players we called in to shoot the ball. Lonnie, make a miss. Those are our offensive talent. Troy, Thomas Bryant, obviously, make or miss. All he do is score buckets. The more shots he take, the more he makes. Anybody notice that? Like, in general, have we ever seen a game where Thomas Bryant goes like 5 for 12? It doesn't happen. It's make. The only problem we have with Thomas is a defense. He rebounds over everybody too. It's one of the things that we forgot to mention, how much he was rebounding the ball to start the game. When we put him down there, he was balling out for a couple seconds. Rebound, boom, rebound, boom, rebound, boom. And then what? Never seen him again. I don't know what he did wrong. Nothing at all. I guess Darvin just saw something right in the small ball that, and forget the right that I seen in Thomas. Nope. Not as important as the right I see hypothetically in small ball. Because it's definitely hypothetical. So you're surely not seeing it on the court. But in his mind, it's there. So that's what I'm saying. It's like people going against what works. I don't understand it, but I think if it stops, we'll see better results. If we take care of those things, not hollering at the referees all game long. Don't bother. Let the Celtics game be a blueprint for your understanding. They don't care about you. They ain't gonna never call your fouls. You're in a league that you ain't getting no calls, and the other side will. You just got to play your defense. See, that's my thing. It's like, put the onus on them. If you foul out because you played 6 possessions of good defense, then you send that footage to the league. But don't back off the defense because you're worried about them fouling it when you know they're corrupt. Stop the player from getting to the line. Stop the player from getting to the lane, rather. And if your defense sends up to the line, the way I see it is put in another defender. And that's why you need enough fast-footed players on your team so you keep doing this. Because that's my thing. I don't believe that the NBA should allow just any old thing. You should call calls. But I also don't think NBA teams should be forced to act like they're in foul trouble just because the officiating is so terrible. We still want to see defense play. We still want to see teams follow through. We still want to see players on the floor who can play defense. And I think coaches are foregoing opportunities to do that because they know a Maxi Christie ain't going to get the calls. A Max Christie going to get fouled out immediately as soon as you put him in. Even though he's going to play the defense, he's going to keep up with him. He's going to slide his feet all the way to the rim, and they're going to call a phantom foul. So coach is like, why even bother? Et cetera, et cetera. It's like, nah, those things play hand in hand as well. I do put some onus on the league to give us back our ability to defend. Don't make a Max Christie and a Davion Mitchell obsolete, a Matisse Thybulle obsolete, just because y'all want to put up a bunch of points. Not fair to those guys. They're really good at what they do. You're putting their hands behind their back. So these type of things I just know, man. That's what I know. I tell my guys, please keep playing defense. Keep doing the same way. Keep on. I'll take those fouls from you. I'll take the onus as a coach. You just play that full-fledged defense all the way through. Don't let these idiots and their bad officiating inconsistencies keep you from your fundamentals that are going to help you everywhere you play. Whether it's in the NBA or the CBA or wherever you're going to be able to play good defense anywhere, and these referees ain't going to be there anywhere, so keep playing well. That's why I tell all professionals, don't let these idiots and their nonsense ruin the game. If you have to get average 5 fouls a game to play good defense, you should probably do it. Confuse the other team enough, you should probably do it. Study the numbers, see if it makes sense. Because they're going to call them fouls on you anyway, are they not? Even when you don't play defense, you get these phantom calls. You might as well have a big body in somebody's face keeping them from getting a teardrop off. So that's the way I look at it, man. So that's what I have to say, man. Lakers got to control what they got to control, man. And hopefully Genie's sending in information to the league to have them investigate whatever's necessary. As if we haven't already seen enough of that. But this is getting to a point where it's just like, I know the Lakers are a team that a lot of people don't like. I know the NBA has its own gripes with us for reasons unknown, whatever it may be. But when you see games like this, and sports betting is a thing, people got their money on these games. This is why I don't bet. I would have felt cheated. I'm just going to tell you right now, if I had $1 million on the Lakers, I'm calling my lawyer. Because that foul was a foul. And he going to make one of them free throws. So somebody got to give me my money. And this is why I don't involve myself in stuff like that. Because that's how I see right and wrong. I don't know if the law will allow me to see it that way, but yeah, that's right and wrong. So, NBA, you got problems on your hands. You can act like you don't, but you don't want people like me actually having their money on the line and then sitting there like, but he did get hit on the arm. So I actually am owed such and such money. It's like, that's real. That's a real thing. But we can act like it's not. So that's what I got to say, man. We're reaching the Kobe minute very soon. Obviously about 30 seconds off, but this week was a tough one for us, as we always want to acknowledge Kobe. And, this was the anniversary 3 months ago, about 5 days ago or so. So, just want to send good energy to everybody who was affected by that in any way. So that's what I want to say. Also, of course, we think about Bill Russell since we were in Boston. You know what I mean? I like seeing that number 2 down there underneath each paint. I guess you say in the paint, each side of the court there. I thought that was really classy. A good way to do it. So, yeah, man, that's what I want to say, man. BDF 44. Control what you can control, everybody. Thank y'all for watching. Out.